I'm Luke Johansson. I'm with the RLS Design Group, along with Richard Gomez and Sean Coons. We reviewed the Northeast Water Purification Project, the administration building associated with this large water treatment plant in Houston, Texas. The building is a 42,000 square foot structure, three-story steel frame structure. It consists of offices and a control room for the entire water treatment plant, as well as a sample lab to sample the water to make sure that the water treatment plant is functioning properly. We consider this building a Category 4 IBC risk category because of the importance of the water to hospitals during emergency management, as well as the sanitary sewer to keep that thing functioning positively and make sure things are working well there to avoid any illnesses in the area during an emergency. The location of the water treatment plant and soon to be administrative building for the water treatment plant is at 12630 Waterworks Way in Humble, Texas, which is in the northeast corner of the Houston area proper, just outside of the outer belt around Houston on the northeast corner of Houston. It's about 5,200 feet from Lake Houston, which is where the water will come from for the water treatment plant. As you can see, there are many hazards in the Houston area to be considered during a design phase of a structure such as this. Those risks are rated from high to low. We selected 3 hazards to review in a little further detail, those being flooding, hurricanes, and subsidence. Subsidence is actually considered a low risk, but from the history of the area, the subsidence is certainly something that we thought was interesting and would be something to review a little bit closer.
Hello, my name is Richard Gomez. I'm going to be speaking about the 3 hazards that impact the Northeast admin building the most. First hazard that Sean, Luke, and myself took a look at was flooding. Houston has been impacted by flooding quite a bit lately. There's been 3 500-year flood events in the last 3 years. Memorial Day 2015 and 16, and then Hurricane Harvey last August in 2017. When taking a look at the flooding potentials and how that can impact the admin building, we wanted to make the storm management system a lot more robust, and by doing that we've increased the stormwater basin size as well as upsized the culverts. The other thing we took a look at was the elevation the building itself was built at. During Hurricane Harvey, Lake Houston got up to about 51.5 feet, and the admin building's about 400 feet from the lake. So the top of slab elevation that the building will be built at is 57 feet, which should be sufficient for any type of 500-year flooding events. The other hazard we took a look at was subsidence. Houston itself is built on a layer of clay, and right now the area gets its water from a ground source. And the Northeast Water Purification Project is actually being built to help the area transition from groundwater to surface water. And it's actually being pushed by the Texas Water Authority. So right now, the water treatment plant will take Houston from groundwater to surface water, so that should help the area in general. As far as the admin building goes, some of the things that we took in consideration when looking at subsidence was bringing in 2 feet of import slug fill and compacting that at 95% compaction, as well as designing spread footings to spread out the bearing load on the soils. Hurricanes definitely was a big consideration here in Houston. Obviously, Hurricane Harvey of last year, it was actually one of the costliest hurricanes on record of $125 billion with the damage. Looking at hurricanes in the admin building, we decided to construct the admin building with hurricane-resistant material, CMU block, increasing that up to from 8-inch to 12-inch, and inserting hurricane resistant windows, double pane windows, metal deck and standing seam metal roof, and then redundant power in case of a power failure to the primary power source.
Hi, my name is Sean Kuntz. One of the key aspects we learned about our location is that while we are in Zone X unshaded, 4,000 feet to the east, we have a drainage ditch that is Zone AE. This drainage ditch feeds into Lake Houston, which is the shaded area on the right. This is designated as a flood zone AE. This leads into Hurricane Harvey. We know this was a catastrophic storm, hurricane, that led to a lot of flooding. This proved that the floodplain maps were outdated and inaccurate. So Harris County, Texas is beginning to address this. They have $8 million in local money, and they just received $6.5 million in FEMA funds. And they're going to complete these maps in 2023. The Houston Chronicle article is very new, came out a couple weeks ago, and they had an investigation that found that 204,000 homes and apartments that flooded in the county, three out of four were outside the 100-year floodplain. So the maps really need to be updated, and they're going to address that. One thing that was interesting was the amount of watersheds. They have 23 watersheds, including bayous, creeks, rivers, and bays. One thing, the engineers are going to be using LIDAR, which is a laser-based system, to map the floodplains, to use to measure the land elevation. It's going to be very interesting. Thank you for your time.